Hey, what's up, guys? It's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're here for UFC Apex, UFC Fight Night 176, whatever way you look at it. Tyron Woodley against Dern. Gilbert Burns is your main event as the UFC really go into a big spell of fights now, where they're going to be going week in, week out, week in, week out. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of breaking fights down over the next few weeks. I had a lot of technical errors. I was trying to get this out earlier in the day. My phone decided to mess up. My computer decided to mess up. My iPad decided it didn't want to work. So it's been a little bit of a shitty day for that. So hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's safe. I'm just looking forward to watching a good run of fights. I can see you guys in the chat there. I can see Joseph. How are you? Guys, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Help grow the channel. Give it a thumbs up if you can. And go tell a friend, and go support all the other predictors that are out there that are doing this week in, week out. I really do appreciate all you guys' support and all the comments down below. So if you have any questions, any queries, any disagreements, any agreements, get down in the drop down box and I'll get back to you as soon as I can here. So yeah, let's get on with the card. Featherweight division, we have Chris Gutierrez, and I'll say as well, there's a lot of fights that have been put here together really in the last 7 to 10 days, and so you kind of have to take it with a little bit of pinch of salt with some of these picks. There's some close fights in here as well, but we'll start off in the featherweight division. Chris Gutierrez against Vince Morales, one that I think is going to be relatively close. I think this fight could go very easily to decision, where both guys are looking like they might have won the fight, and there's going to be a split decision. I've got that kind of funny feeling regarding this fight here. With that, so I can't get this hat right. My hair's getting too long with this quarantine. So yeah, back to the hats. Gutierrez to me is definitely a better striker at range. I think with his kicks that he can use, he can chop you down. He can fight at range a little bit better than what Morales is, who I think is a technically more gifted boxer, maybe a better striker with his hands. But he needs to get in close, and I can see him maybe getting chopped down with some kicks. He's had a couple of kind of closest losses. Lost to Benito Lopez, who I think he probably should have got the decision against. Song Yadong, I thought he fought okay in that. I think he came into the fight more as the fight went on, but it was a little bit too early in his UFC tenure for that. Got the win over Eamon Zahabi, which Zahabi's really kind of blown out in the UFC. He's not turned into anything that a lot of people did. I had kind of high hopes for him, and he's not really, that's not worked out at all. Gutierrez came in against Ryan Barcelos, gave a good account of himself, and then he's followed that up with wins over Ryan McDonald. He's not UFC caliber, let's get that straight out there, and Geraldo de Freitas, he can be a little bit awkward at times. Came through that one, a very good split decision in Uruguay there. So not too much confidence in the pick in this one. I'm seeing a lot of people kind of on social media through Twitter and so on, they quite like Morales in this spot. I actually like Gutierrez just a little bit more. That was my gut feeling in this pick. And when I watched the fight, some of the fights between them, both guys, I just thought Gutierrez is maybe going to do enough, but I can see this being a split decision here. So I'm going to go Chris Gutierrez for the win there. Lewis Smoke against Casey Kenny. I must admit, I am a fan of Casey Kenny. I think he's a really solid overall fighter. He's a guy that even if you watch his fights before the UFC, he gave you some good dominating performances against the guy who's actually coming up here in his UFC debut next in Brandon Royval, where he completely shut him out. Wrestling was solid, striking was solid, completely dominated that fight. Since he came into the UFC, got some big wins. Ray Borg, Manny Bermudez. Bermudez was, well, Kenny's a former flyweight against a featherweight, a guy who can't even make featherweight, can't even make lightweight now in Manny Bermudez, and he got a couple of great wins in those fights. Really like his boxing, really like his entries into his takedowns, and I like his position on the bottom. I think he can be really, really heavy down there. I think Lewis Smoker has not got all that great takedown defense, so I think he will give him opportunities to get in, get takedowns, but with Smoker on the ground, he's very crafty. He's very good at getting sweeps, reversals, getting into dangerous positions. But for me, I think Casey Kenny's just going to be a little bit too seasoned for that at this point in his career. So, I mean, Smoker's striking his last fight again against Ryan McDonald looked as good as it ever has. But again, it's Ryan McDonald, who I thought was very low caliber for the UFC, and he went in there, he went into kind of all his UFC fights, his couple of UFC fights, and just didn't look like he belonged. He might be one of these fighters that he'll go on, he'll win a load more fights in the regionals, and then we'll see him back in the UFC again, and he'll look at a far different proposition than his original UFC debut. But I mean, Smoker's been around a hell of a long time. Like I said, super, super crafty. I just like Casey Kenny. The one thing I will say, I think the betting line is a little bit too big in this one. I've seen earlier on, I've not looked at the lines recently, but Casey Kenny's minus 260, that's high, that's pretty heavy. And on someone like Smoker, plus 220, that's fairly decent dog odds for a guy who's been around the UFC for a hell of a long time. He's, like I say, a crafty vet. But I just like Casey Kenny's game. Obviously, coming off that loss to Marab, he got Marabbed, you could say. Devlishville's going to take you down numerous occasions, and he did that. He had spots where he got Marab down, I think, very, very quickly, but it didn't really last too long. He tried to reverse a couple of positions, but for me, I like Casey Kenny. I think he dominates over the course of the 15 minutes. I think he wins via decision in that one there. Tim Elliott against Brandon Royval. This is one that I kind of preempted a little bit there. I made a video before this COVID-19 kicked off, and I had 10 fighters I think should be in the UFC within the next 12 months, and Brandon Royval was one of those guys. Didn't think it'd be that quick, but after he was going to fight in the Contender Series next month against Jerome Rivera, which was going to be a rematch. If you go and watch that fight on YouTube, it ended pretty nastily, just put it that way. There's a nasty injury in that one to Rivera. I must admit, I like this Royval kid. I think he is very, very talented. I think that he's very dangerous. You cannot take him lightly at any point. There is, in my opinion, there's some definite holes in his game. I think he's too accepting of laying on his back, fighting off his back, but he is dangerous down there. You've seen him been put down very, very quickly. Like against Nate Williams, his last fight. Now, he looked huge against Nate Williams. Nate Williams looked like an atom weight at least, and Royval looked massive. Charged at Royval, took him down, and then came into a triangle situation, and then he managed to kind of move round and catch the armbar, and got a beautiful armbar. Like, he's got some real legit skills on the ground. But he's got, I don't want to say it's a tough test, but it's an awkward test, because Tim Elliott is he's weird. He's a weird fighter in general. He's very herky-jerky, he's striking. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know where he's moving. Royval will probably be the better technical striker, but is very, very open to getting hit himself. He has his hands down low, his chin a little bit high. What I do like with Royval is when he decides to feint off and use the uppercut. I think he can do that. He can pivot off to the side and throw really nice uppercuts. That's a shot that I've seen him land on Casey Kenny. I forgot the other guy he was against. I've seen him do it on a few occasions. But I do think he's too acceptant off his back. I think Elliott will get him down, but I think Brandon Royval has a really good opportunity to catch something here on Tim Elliott, because Tim Elliott, I think, will give him opportunities. If he doesn't do that, then I think Tim Elliott over the course of 15 minutes will beat him. I thought he had not closest fight with Askarov. I thought he gave a good account of himself in that fight, but he is definitely a guy who's pretty old now for this division. A lot of young guys coming in, so I think he's there to be got at. I think he shot in on Davison Figueiredo, got caught there. If he comes in sloppy against this kid, or on the ground sloppy, he could definitely get caught. I just think it's going to run the course over 15 minutes. I think he's going to get takedowns. I think he's going to stay out of some positions. There might be a couple of dangerous occasions in there where he maybe puts his head or his arm in a place it really shouldn't be, and he'll maybe get away with it with the skin of his teeth. But I'm excited to see Brandon Royval in the UFC. I think he was a good addition on the Contender Series. I thought he was going to do well in that fight. But now he's in the UFC. I think if he can mature a little bit, work on his skills and his feet, because I do think his jiu-jitsu is very dangerous. I think he could be a very dangerous player at 125 for years to come. But again, still young in his career. But I'm going to take Tim Elliott again to win via decision. But I'm not super confident in that, because I do think that he could get caught. Light heavyweight division, you've got Jamahal Hill against Klidson Abreu. I'll come out and say I'm picking Klidson Abreu. I've already bet him at plus 140. but I really like the skills of Jamahal Hill. I do think the kid's got a lot of talent, but again, like Brendan Royval, I think he's got holes in his game that he can exploit, absolutely can exploit. What I liked about Jamahal Hill's fights, even on the Contender Series and out in the regionals, very long, a lot of output, varies his strikes, comes forward with a big high kick, which has got really no wind up. It's a straight high kick up top. He can attack the body, he can attack the legs. So his kicking game's decent. Comes in with a step in knee, which I really, really like personally. I think it is. But when he comes in with that, he is wide open to a counter left hand shot. But on the feet here, he should have more than enough for Klidson Abreu. If Klidson Abreu in this fight doesn't throw anything, and that's what he's not done in his previous fights against Sam Alvey, against Ankalaev, against Gamatov, if he doesn't throw, and that's in the Gamatov fight there, if he just threw a little bit more in that third round, he wins that fight in my opinion. Very easily. I think I bet him in that spot as well. He needs to throw here, because if he's not thrown on the feet with Hill, Hill's going to pick him apart. But where you see the holes in Hill's game is his head's right there. It doesn't move, it doesn't pivot to the sides. He's really, really hittable with a variety of different shots. You can attack his body as well, because like I say, he comes forward, hands very low, head high in the air, and he is wide open for takedowns. You've seen that in the third round against Darko Stosic. At any point he wanted to take him down, he did. What I'll say about this, even if you go back and watch his fights on the regional scene, his get-up game has gradually got better, but I still think there's a big class in these two here. Abreu, you look at the three guys he's fought, Alvey, high takedown defense, he's a hard guy to get down. You're not going to take down Ankalaev. He got Gazmatov, I think his name is, I keep forgetting that name. Got him down on the ones there, but he couldn't continue to really get him there. I think if he gets this kid down and gets any type of top time and top position, I think he can really have a great opportunity to submit him here, because I think Jamahal Hill will look to try and get to his feet as soon as possible. I think he could leave an opening, and I think Klidson Abreu could stop him. But like I said, if this predominantly stays on the feet, I think it could be a bad night for Klidson. But I see him getting the fight to the ground on multiple occasions, and I think one time he will catch a submission. But I am a fan of Jamahal Hill. I like what I see, even though he's like 29, coming on 30. There's a lot to like with that kid. I just think this time Klidson Abreu beats him. So Klidson Abreu, second round submission for me. This one I've been going back and forward with. Catchweight 150, Billy Quarantillo against Spike Carlyle. Initially, I kind of got feeling this. So I thought, right, Billy Quarantillo. I've never been, when I watched Spike Carlyle, I look at it and I'm not super impressed with what I see, but he's got some things there that you can see that he's definitely getting better fight to fight, because I mean, it was only a couple of years ago he lost to a guy with not a great record. I think it was a pretty contentious split decision, but coming into the UFC, absolutely ran through Alan Cruz. With he threw like a weird elbow, and then absolutely started elbowing away for everything and managed to get him out of there. But when you see him in the regional scenes, he fights. Sometimes he fights to the level of his opponents a little bit. You watch the Matthew Colquhoun fight, who's not got a great record. He was in some, not in some bad positions, but he was fighting very close with a guy which you would think he'd be a little bit ahead of. But what he has got is he's got some power. He's got some of that ginger power, I think, where he can absolutely wilt you with a shot and put you down. Caught him with a spinning back fist. Colquhoun didn't know where he was at. And then you see in the Alan Cruz fight there that once he throws some big shots, he can really, really hurt you. I think he comes from a judo and jiu-jitsu background, so that might serve him well here, because Quarantillo, I think, is the better overall wrestler. So he might be able to initially stop some takedowns. I think that's what he will try and do, is he will try and grapple this fight here and look to take it to the mat. And if he can do that for any length of time, I think he can win the fight for Quarantillo. But the Jacob Kilburn fight, I'm taking nothing away from that fight, because Jacob Kilburn, in my opinion, shouldn't be in the UFC. I don't think he's ready for the UFC. And Quarantillo took some kind of shots in that one, which I didn't really like. Even in the regional scene, he takes some shots. He's a little bit, his head's a little bit high. But he's got a lot of experience out there. He's got far more experience than what Carlyle has. He was always on the Dana. He was always on the Ultimate Fighter. So if Carlyle can hit him up early, I think he can hurt him. I really do. I think this one's going to be close. I've not really got a good read in this. I'm going to go with Spike Carlyle, but like I say, I'm not super confident in it. I think he can catch him with some shots early on. Late on, it could be a little bit hairy, but I've got Spike Carlyle. By a stoppage, I'm going to take him by in the mid part of this fight here. I think he hurts him, but if he starts getting taken down, gets laid on top of, I think Quarantillo could win the fight through there. So I'm going to take Spike Carlyle for the W there. Katlyn Chookagian against Antonina Shevchenko. Initially when I seen this, I'm like, I really like Chookagian here. And then I was watching some fights and I'm like, Katlyn Chookagian is really not good implementing wrestling, which I think you need to beat Antonina. And I don't think she's good against counter-strikers at all, which I think Antonina is at least a lot better than what Chookagian is. So I think Katlyn could obviously, she could win away in this fight to just kind of hitting at distance and staying away, but I think Antonina can definitely cut off the cage, and I think if this is a pure striking battle, I've got Antonina winning that type of fight. So like I say, I can see some people in the chat there, they're talking about Katlyn Chookagian. I think she is coming back quite quick after that loss to Valentina Shevchenko, rightly enough, but yeah, I went into this fight thinking I like Katlyn Chookagian to win this fight, but then you see her, she doesn't really implement her wrestling. She doesn't really strike too well with good counter strikers, which I think Antonina's definitely got the advantage in this one here. Like I say, I've never really got the best of reads on Katlyn Chookagian fights, if I'm being honest with you, because she's so kind of hard to kind of really root for in any aspect. But I'm going to take Antonina Shevchenko actually for this one. I'm going to take her via decision. But I can see some of you guys drop some money on Katlyn Chookagian. I don't think it's a bad bet, especially at plus 120, like you're saying there. I like more from what I see from Antonina, cutting off the cage, counter striking better than what Chookagian is, and I think that if the fight doesn't hit the mat, which I think you have to do against Antonina, then you can beat Katlyn Chookagian. But a lot of experience on the side of Chookagian in the UFC as well. So yeah, like I said, I'll take Antonina. Not super confident though. Medium confidence, I suppose. Women's strawweight division. Now we are in the main card here. Mackenzie Dern against Hannah Cifers. It's hard to see Hannah Cifers really winning this fight because Mackenzie Dern, she's a big strawweight. It would not surprise me if Mackenzie came in here. I know she's had a fight scheduled on multiple occasions. Fights have fell through. Cards have fell through. Whatever. She's a big girl for strawweight. And I think that last fight was just a bad fight. I was super confident she beat Hebas, and Hebas absolutely annihilated her. I don't know. I just had a really bad read in that fight, and it was like 3, 4, 5 months after she had her kid. That is really, really quick to come back from that. But even if she had 6 to 8 months, I still think she wouldn't beat Amanda Hebas. I think Hebas is definitely a little bit ahead. I thought she was there to be hit. Hebas really hit her up, and that's something that Hannah Cifers could do here. If she can counter well, she could maybe put some damage on Mackenzie Dern, but there's so many things that really go into the side of Mackenzie Dern in this fight. You've seen what Hannah Cifers is like. If she gets her back put in the mat, she doesn't know what she's doing. And if Angela Hill can do that, you know what Mackenzie Dern's going to do. She's going to take an arm home to her dad, pretty much. But Mackenzie Dern, she's got big power herself. She can strike. She doesn't want to really get in a stand-up battle here because Hannah Cifers, I think, like 5 of her wins are via knockout. That's quite a lot for a woman. We've not seen that in the UFC though. But there's a clear difference in ground games here. Like that one big asterisk there, that if Mackenzie Dern one time gets it there, you can't see this fight going on any longer. The only way you can see Cifers really winning, they get into a stand-up affair, and Mackenzie Dern, like you've seen in that Hebas fight, she can be countered really, really easily. She kind of moves back with her head in there, so she can be struck, and Cifers is quite strong, but Cifers is small for 115, so I've got Mackenzie Dern. I think once this fight hits the mat one time, I think it will be over from there, so I'm going to take Mackenzie Dern via submission late in round number 1. Lightweight division, we've got Roosevelt Roberts against Brok Weaver. I'll be honest, I really, really like Roberts' skills. I think he's got a lot of talent there. I just think there's a lot of things he has to work out still. I'm not fully sold on him. I think he fights a little bit close. I think there's no urgency with him. I think if so I'm just checking something else. I thought something come up. I think if he fights a little bit more urgency and does a little bit more, I think he'd be a far more dangerous fighter. I think he mixes it in, mixes everything in well, mixes in everything together very well is what I'm trying to say. Big guy for the division, big reach, and I think that Brok Weaver, I don't think he's great. I think that the only thing that I see that he's got a nice 1-2, doesn't really throw any more strikes than that. That fight with Kazula Vargas, I mean, he won that fight, but he got, for the 4 minutes that fight took place, Brok Weaver was getting beat bad by Kazula Vargas, who's not known as a grappler, is not particularly high level. For the 4 minutes that fight took place, he was losing every aspect of the fight. And when you look at Roberts here, he throws more, he's longer, he's got a really nice piercing jab. But what I didn't like with that fight is the fact that he let Vince Pichel really start to bully him in the mid part of that fight. It was close. First 7 minutes, he was maybe winning. The last 7 minutes, he really kind of got blitzed out there a little bit by Pichel. Got taken down, got full mounted, got his back taken. And then if you watch the end of the fight, he's talking to his corner and he says he quit on himself. You never like to see that, but like I say, that's an instant thing after losing a fight. Maybe you're in that position there where he kind of did quit himself. Hopefully he kind of learns from that and really just fights harder and fights smarter in that spot. But when you go fighter for fighter, for me, I think Brok Weaver's a lot of hype. This Indian background, whatever it may be, I don't think he's great. I think this could be a very, very good matchup for Roberts, but I will say the betting lines are a little bit atrocious in my opinion. Roosevelt Roberts minus 320. I don't think it should be that high. I think he should be minus 200, maybe minus 225 to be a full dollar up from that. You could say that's high in my opinion. I'm seeing a lot of people parlaying him. Not for me. I think that he should win this fight very comfortably. I think he's got a lot of advantages here. I've got Roosevelt Roberts. I think he might be able to submit him. So I am going to take Roosevelt Roberts. I'm going to take him via submission in the mid part of this fight here. Kevin Holland against Daniel Rodriguez. I'm still not on the Kevin Holland hype train, but if Kevin Holland can just fight like he fought against Anthony Hernandez 2 weeks ago, that's the Kevin Holland we need to see, because that is the dangerous fighter that I seen in the regionals that never really came into the UFC and did it as much yet. So there's a lot to like with Kevin Holland. If he just really, the kid's obviously got a lot of talent. So yeah, and this is his first return to welterweight in nearly 3 years. So his last one was against Curtis Millender. So he's come into the UFC, obviously faced Thiago Santos. He's got wins over John Phillips, Jared Mearshart, DiCirico, Fluffy Hernandez. Might as well talk about that fight because it was literally 2 weeks ago. He came in there. That's one of my worst picks. Anthony Hernandez was obviously didn't really have that much time in 40 seconds to really get himself into the fight, but I don't think he'll be around the UFC all that much longer. But that was a bad pick on my part. But Kevin Holland, that's the Kevin Holland we need to see more of, because in the DiCirico fight, in the Mearshart fight, he kind of sat back a little bit more. The guy's got immense length. He's got immense length against Rodriguez here, I believe. I think he's got like a 7 to 8 inch reach advantage. Obviously a big height advantage as well, I believe. And that's the fighter I want to see. But there's sometimes he just sits back a little bit too much. But this cut down, second cut in the space of 3 weeks. Obviously, I don't think he cut. I think he came in at like 182 in his fight against Anthony Hernandez. So another 10, 11 pounds on top of that. Might not be too bad, and he has made the weight before, which is always a plus. Daniel Rodriguez, very, very tough. You've seen him going through the Contender Series. Went through Tim Means as a big underdog, plus 300, plus 350, I think it was, in that region. Maybe even a little bit lower than that, sorry. But yeah, showed a lot against a veteran of the UFC, and that's what Tim Means is. And came through that one where they got a guillotine in the second round. That's another. I think there's another fight here where the odds are very, very high. So minus 220 for Holland. I don't mind that as a parlay piece. Personally, I don't see much from Daniel Rodriguez that really super impresses me outside his toughness. And I think Kevin Holland has got skills. I've been saying that for every fight, every prediction on here. Sometimes he just doesn't show it. So I'll take Kevin Holland. I think once he gets this to the ground, I actually think he's very crafty when he's in the top position. So I'm going to take him to win via submission in the maybe late second, early third round there. I think he can get Daniel Rodriguez out there and continue to really give himself a good run through middleweight or welterweight, whatever division it may be. Co-main event of the night, we've got Blagoy Ivanov against Augusto Sakai. I like Augusto Sakai. I bet him a couple of times beforehand, but this fight here is very, very close in my opinion. What he has got on his side here, he's got length, got a reach advantage, and most people will have that over Blagoy Ivanov because he's not a big heavyweight. But Sakai's come in here and he's just impressed me. I think he's a workman-like heavyweight. Went out there, absolutely blasted through Marcin Tybura at the end of last year. Beat Arlovski, which was a close fight. Arlovski can fight close sometimes. Beat Chase Sherman and obviously won his fight in the Dana White Contender Series Brazil edition. So he's on a nice run since that loss to, I think it was Congo back in Bellator, way back in 2017. So he's put a nice run together. And now he's got the blockhead in Blagoy Ivanov, who seems to eat everything that he likes and kind of keep on coming and just fights close regardless. Don't think he's super high level, but he's a very, very, very tough out for a lot of guys in this UFC division. So the next kind of logical step for someone like Sakai is maybe Blagoy Ivanov, who's won a couple of fights in the UFC, had a main event against JDS, beat Ben Rothwell, which was very close. I thought Rothwell actually won that. Then get hit with a couple of big shots against Tai Tuivasa, but won that, and then lost a split against Derek Lewis. So, yeah, I just think this is going to be close. I think if Blagoy can somehow get inside the reach of Sakai and really tie him up and hurt him a little bit, that's where I think he wins this fight, is making it ugly, making it dirty, tying him up. I wish I got on Augusto Sakai when the plus money was there. I think that's when you should have got on him. But when I went back and watched some more of this fight, I just think it's going to be close. And I've got no really good lean in either side. So I'm going to take... This is a tough one. This is a really tough one for me. I'll take Augusto Sakai to win a very, very, very close split decision. But I'll be honest, I'm not confident at all. So... yeah, and we're on to the main event of the night. We've got the former UFC welterweight champion in Tyron Woodley against the surgeon Dorino Gilbert Burns, who's really in the last year has really decided like he's going to fight every kind of week. It seems like. I mean, he's fought 4 times in the last 14, 15 months. That's a good thing to do. Good wins. Mike Davis, which I think will look good in a few years because I think Mike Davis is a really good fighter. Came in short notice against Alexei Kunchenko, started off really well and then started to fade, which is a little thing that maybe I'm a little bit weary of here with this fight going longer. I think that Woodley can maybe have a little bit of success if this fight comes in to the kind of later rounds a little bit. Beat Gunnar Nelson pretty convincingly there, and then went out there and just absolutely smashed Damian Maia. The guy's got really good hand speed, really good technical punches. I don't think he's very good footwork wise. I think his footwork, he kind of comes straight forward a little bit, and I think against someone like Tyron Woodley, who can maybe counter him with a good shot, he could maybe hurt him. Now, if this was to go to the ground, you've got obviously the good wrestling in Woodley, which he very rarely uses. And then you've got the immense jiu-jitsu of Gilbert Burns. So you would think this fight's going to be predominantly on the feet, and it could definitely turn out to be like that. You've got the power striking of Woodley, who doesn't really throw that much, backs up a little bit too much for my liking. So he needs to stand his ground here, and he needs to get some respect early, I think, from Gilbert Burns. Like I said, but this is the guy that's been championship material for a few years. He is getting old now. I want to say he's 37, 38 years old, so his time in sport might be coming to an end, or he might be getting that second wind where he wants to get back up there. because he got completely shot against Cameron Usman, who's actually a teammate of Gilbert Burns in their last fight. So yeah, I'm gut feeling is Tyron Woodley. I would like to see Gilbert Burns win just to see some new fresh meat at the top of the division. But I think Tyron Woodley is going to play it really, really slow in the early part of this fight. I can see Burns maybe being a round up, maybe even 2. But then I can see him coming into this fight as it kind of gets later on. I can see maybe Burns fading off a little bit and then getting hurt with a shot. I can actually see Tyron Woodley maybe knocking out Gilbert Burns. So, like I said, I haven't really got a good read of that fight, if I'm being honest with you. I've watched a couple of fights. I'm not good at really reading Tyron Woodley fights, if I'm being honest with you. I never really can really work him out too well. So, like I say, my prediction's going to be Tyron Woodley. I'm going to go that he's going to come through here and knock Gilbert Burns out, maybe in the 3rd, 4th round. If not, maybe get a kind of lackluster decision. It's not a fight I'm not going to be playing DraftKings, if I'm being honest with you. I think I'm going to be looking elsewhere around for that. I've got a big week on DraftKings. I'm in the Sweet 16 of the DFS World Cup, MMA World Cup. I've got a match against the Filthy Frankster. So we'll see here if I can move on to the last 8, which would be nice. But I know I've got a tough opponent here in Frank, and I know he's going to bring it like he has done this whole entire tournament. So guys, I see you guys in the chat there. The chat has been awesome. Sorry I've not been able to get to some of the chats there. I'll maybe try and do a live stream later on in the week. No matter what side, if you're on a different side to me, I hope you cast your bets. Like I said, I've only got one bet right now, and that is Klidson Abreu at plus 140. So yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm really looking forward to UFC 250 next week. I think it's a great looking card. A lot of good fighters. I've got some of my favourite fighters on there. I've got Cody Garbrandt, who I'm a massive fan of. Is Cody going to come back a different fighter? Is he still going to be that meathead fighter who's, once he gets punched once, is going to just go into berserker mode and look to get that shot back and get knocked out again? It could happen. Sanhagen against Sterling. I've already got a bet down in that fight. Now, I'm not going to say who it is, but if you want to go and see, you can check my Bet MMA tips and you can see who I bet in that spot. But that's a great, great fight. And then obviously you've got the women's GOAT and Amanda Nunes there defending her featherweight championship, it is, against Felicia Spencer. So I can see all you guys in the chat. I really do appreciate it. Thanks for the thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. Leave any comments down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Until then, all the very, very best, and I'll see you next week for UFC 250. All the best.